Hello students, in this class we are going to see a new chapter under modern physics, that is atoms. So modern physics have totally 2 units. 12th chapter is atoms and 13th chapter is nuclei. So these 2 units are called modern physics. This modern physics will also come for your chemistry. So you listen carefully. If you learn about atoms and nuclei, which we are going to see from this chapter as well as next chapter, then it will be very much useful for your chemistry also. Okay, so listen carefully. In atoms, we will see the first topic is alpha particle scattering experiment, or we can say Rutherford experiment. In 1911, H. Geiger and Ernst Marsden so these two physicists are the student of Ernst Rutherford. So on the suggestion of Ernst Rutherford, these two physicists did one experiment, that is alpha particle scattering experiment, or we can say Rutherford experiment. Okay, so this Ernst Rutherford, he is the student of J.J. Thomson, the one who found the proton, okay, who proved that atoms have proton. So he is the student of J.J. Thomson, and these two physicists are the students of Ernst Rutherford. So on the suggestion of Ernst Rutherford, these two did one experiment that is known as alpha particle scattering experiment. We'll go to the experiment. So we have an alpha particle source which emits alpha particle. Let's take this is our source. This source emits alpha particles. Okay, so we can say this is source of alpha particle. And what is this source? This source is nothing but bismuth element, bismuth material. Okay, a chemical component called a bismuth. So the energy of this alpha particle is around 5 mega electrovolt to 7.7 mega electrovolt. We have two gods known as lead bricks . The function of lead bricks is to observe the alpha particles and make it move in a coherent way. So we have two set of parallel lead bricks. So this alpha particle cannot able to scatter in all the way. With the help of lead bricks, it's made to move in a linear way. It makes to move in a straight line. Okay, so these lead bricks collimate alpha particle into a thin layer. Okay, into a thin layer. So now this alpha particle will start to move in a straight line, move in a thin layer, Here we have gold foil. Okay, so this is our gold foil. We can say this is thin gold foil. So how much thin? Nearly the size is 10 to the power minus 6 meter to 10 power minus 8 meter. Okay, very thin. Okay, very less than 1 mm. Okay, very thin foil. So why we choose very thin foil? Because our purpose is we have to hit the alpha particle into the atom of gold. For that we should have minimum number of atoms. Okay, for our experiment purpose we should have minimum number of atoms. For that we choose thin gold foil. This thin gold foil have only one layer of atom. Okay, so if you take this is front portion, then this front portion only have atoms. There is no back portions. So that much very thin gold foil. Okay, so we can say single layer of gold atoms. So this foil only have one side, single layer of gold atoms. So after hitting the gold atoms, the alpha particle will start to scatter. And some of the alpha particles move in a straight line. Here we have zinc screen about 180 degree. Here we have a zinc screen about 180 degree. Okay, we can say this is zinc sulfide screen. Here we have detector microscope which detects the alpha particle. So some of the alpha particle after hitting the gold foil, it gets deflected, okay, at an angle theta. It gets deflected at an angle theta. So this deflected alpha particle detected by the detector microscope. Okay, we cannot able to see that alpha particle. So for that we use detector microscope. So after hitting the zinc screen, the zinc screen will starts to illuminate. Okay, it starts to brighten. Clear? So these are the total setup of Rutherford experiment, scattering experiment. So here we have source which emits alpha particle. Alpha particle is nothing but He++ or He2+. Okay, that is alpha particle. So source of alpha particle is bismuth. Bismuth will emits an alpha radiation. Okay, so bismuth is a kind of radioactive elements which emits alpha radiation. This alpha radiation made to pass in a linear line with the help of lead bricks. So this alpha particle hit on the gold foil, which means it hit on the gold atoms. So after hitting the gold atoms, some of the alpha particle deflected at an angle theta and most of the alpha particle goes in a straight line. So when it is hit on the detector microscope, the zinc sulfide screen will start to illuminate. So with the help of the bright spot, okay, each time it will hit, a bright spot will happen. A bright spot will occur on the ZN screen. Okay. So from this material we have a lakhs of alpha particle which emits from the bismuth material and it made to hit on the zinc sulfide screen as well as this thin gold foil. Okay. By doing this experiment we have certain observations. The first one is most of the alpha particles Okay, nearly 99.86% of alpha particles went undeviated. That is theta equal to 0 degree. We can say which went straight. So if you see this diagram, this is alpha particle coming and theta is 0, which means it goes along the straight line. So nearly 99.86% of alpha particles goes in a straight line with a deviation. Okay, so it never deviates, it goes in a straight line. Nearly most of the alpha particles. Okay, it went in a straight. Then second observation, 0.14% of alpha particles deviate more than 1 degree. Okay, only 0.14% of particles which deviate more than 1 degree. So this is 0 degree straight line. We can say this is 1 degree. This is more than 1 degree. Okay, 2, 3, 4 like that. It will go on 45, 60, 75. Then the straight line will be 90. Okay, the straight line will be 90. Then again the angle will increase. Okay, 100, 150, 160, 170. Then this angle will be 180. So this is 0 parallel. This is anti-parallel 180 degree. Okay, so 0.14% will deflect more than 1 degree, maybe somewhere here. Then third observations, 1 in 10 power 6 alpha particles deviate about 180 degree, which means theta equal to 180 degree, and return back. Okay, so 10 power 6 means, which is 10 lakhs, that is 1 million. So about 10 lakhs alpha particles, only one alpha particle, okay, which hits the gold foil, again it's returned back 180 degree. Okay, so we have totally 3 kind of observations. The first one is, actually this is fourth point, I think this is fourth point. So write the third point here. The third point, 1 in 8,000 alpha particle deviate more than 90 degree, which means theta is greater than 90. So about 8,000 alpha particles, only one alpha particle deflected more than 90 degree. We can say this is 90 degree. Okay, more than 90 degree means somewhere here. So only 1 in 8,000. And then only 1 in 10 power 6, which means only one alpha particle, about 10 lakhs alpha particle reflected exactly back. Okay, so alpha particle comes straight like this, and only one alpha particle reflected back. Okay, so we have 4 kinds of result. The first one is most of the alpha particle goes in a straight line. Okay, nearly 99.86%. Then only 0.14% will deflected more than 1 degree. Okay, will deflected more than 1 degree, very small, very small. Then 1 in 8,000 alpha particle deviate more than 90 degree. Okay, 1 in 8,000 alpha particle deviate more than 90 degree. Then 1 in 10 lakhs alpha particle exactly reflected back, exactly returned back. So these are the observations which we have through this experiment. If we draw a graph for number of alpha particles versus scattering angle, we can say capital N and theta, number of alpha particles, scattering angle. So we can write, so we have graph somewhat like this. Most of the alpha particles, it may have lakhs of alpha particle, okay, 10 lakhs, more than 10 lakhs. So more than 10 lakhs alpha particle will goes in a straight line, or we can say most of alpha particle, 99.86% went undeviated. Okay, so 0 degree, this is angle 0 degree, so this is our 0. So nearly more than 10 lakhs alpha particle went undeviated. Okay, 1 in 10 power 6 alpha particle. Okay, so we can say 1 in 10 power 6 alpha particle will come about 180 degree. So we have here only one alpha particle, this is the number of alpha particles, this is 10, so one will be somewhat here. So that one particle deflected about 180 degree. Okay, then 0.14% alpha particle deviate more than 1 degree. So this is 0, 1 somewhat here, okay, more than 1, so will be here. So nearly 0.14% will come here. Okay, then 1 in 8,000 particle deviate more than 90 degree. So more than 90 degree we have somewhat here. Okay, 1 in 8,000, 10 power 3 is 1000, so we have somewhere here. So if we draw a graph, we can get a curve like this. Okay, so we have a curve like this. From this we can say number of alpha particles deviated at an angle theta is given as n equal to kz square divided by sine power 4 theta by 2. So this is the total number of alpha particles scattered, okay, which is deviated at an angle theta, which is depends on constant k. Then z means atomic number, theta scattering angle, so if you see here n directly proportional to z, which means if we choose a metal which have more number of atoms, here we choose gold, if we choose any other metals which have more number of atoms, then more number of alpha particles deflected. Okay, more number of alpha particles deflected. Clear? So for alpha particle is nothing but He2 plus, so it have charge of plus 2 positive charge. Then its mass 4 atomic mass unit. So this is the properties of alpha particle. Alpha particle is He plus plus and its charge is plus 2e. Okay, so it is positive charge and mass is 4 AMU, 4 atomic mass unit. So we will solve a numerical. If 1000 particles are scattered, n given at an angle 60 degree, so at 60 degree we have 1000 alpha particles and the angle is 60 degree. Okay, if the angle is 90 degree, find the number of alpha particles scattered at an angle 90 degree. So if the angle is 90 degree, then what is number of alpha particles? Okay, so we take first condition, n equal to k z square divided by sine power 4 theta by 2. So this is the formula. N is given for first condition 1000 alpha particle k z square divided by, here z is not given, okay, they did not mention any metal, so we take both metals are same, So both have same Z, same atomic number. Okay, then sine power 4 theta by 2, theta is 60 degree, 60 by 2. Okay, we take this is equation 1. Then for second equation we don't know n value, so we take n as x. We have to find that x, k z square divided by sine power 4, but theta given 90 degree by 2. We take this as equation 2. So divide 2 by 1, then we have x divided by 1000 equal to kz square get cancelled. Okay, then we have sine power 4, 60 by 2 is 30 degree, so sine power 4 30 degree divided by, here we have 60 by 2, so sine 60 by 2 30 degree and it will come reciprocal, so here we have sine power 4 90 by 2 will be 45 degree. Okay, so the value of sine 30 degree will be 1 by 2, so 1 by 2, here we have sine power 4, so 1 by 2 1 by 2 1 by 2 into 1 by 4, 4 times 1 by 2, then 4 times sine 45 value, sine 45 is 1 by root 2, so 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2. So we know 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 will be 1 by 2, correct? Root 2 get cancelled, then we have 2. So for 2 1 by 2 we can cancel 1 by 2. Then another 2 1 by root 2 we can cancel another 1 by 2. So we left with x by 1000 equal to 1 by 2 into 1 by 2 will be 1 by 4. Okay, so from this we can take x equal to 250. So D will be our answer. So for 60 degree, the total number of alpha particles scattered will be 1000. But when we increase the angle, okay, the number of alpha particles will decrease. Okay, 1 to 250. So we can say number of scattered alpha particle is inversely proportional to scattered angle. If the angle is 0, then nearly 99.86% goes in a straight line. Okay, so if the angle is 0, which means angle is very less, then total number of alpha particles will be more. Clear? So from the previous experiment, Rutherford nucleus model of atom, we have this result and conclusions. That is, the first result, most part of the atom is empty space, or we can say hollow. So how we said like this? The reason is 99.86. Okay, so almost all the alpha particles went straight. Almost all the alpha particles went straight. Okay, which moves undeviated. So which means there is nothing inside the atom except empty space. Okay, most of the part of the atom is empty space. Then second conclusion, there is some positive charge inside the atom in a very small space. So how we said? Because 0.14% of alpha particles deflected more than 1 degree. So which means alpha particle is a positive charge. So then there must be a positive charge inside the atom. That positive charge repelled the positive alpha particle. Okay, so there is some positive charge inside the atom in a very small space. Most of the space will be empty. Then third conclusion, the positive charge inside the atom. The positive charge inside the atom is concentrated to an extremely small space called a nucleus. So there is a positive charge concentration in a very small space. That space is called a nucleus. Okay, so if we take the size of atom is 10 power minus 15 meter, then size of nucleus is 10 power minus 15, then size of atom will be 10 power minus 10. Okay, so this is for normal condition. Size of atom will be 10 power minus 10 meter. So inside we have size of nucleus, that is 10 power minus 15 meter. So very small area of nucleus when compared with the size of atom. So what is the reason for this? We know 1 in 10 power 6 alpha particles returned back, okay, which is deviated by 180 degree. So only one alpha particle deviated by 180 degree, which means a small space called nucleus. So this alpha particle directly hit on the nucleus. Because of that repulsion force, alpha particle reflected back. Okay. Number of particles scattered at particular angle theta is different for different metals. Because we know number of particles scattered is directly proportional to Z. Z means atomic number. So different metal have different atomic number, correct? So if the atomic number of a particular atom will be more, then more alpha particles scattered. Okay, atomic number will be less, then only less alpha particles scattered. Because different metal have different atomic number. Okay. The fifth conclusions, the electron are attracted by nucleus, okay, positive nucleus, because electron is negative charge and nucleus is positive charge. So there is a force of attraction, Coulomb force, between electron and positive charge, correct? Coulomb force. But electron don't move towards the nucleus. Even though there is an attraction force, electron cannot able to move towards the nucleus. Why? Because it utilizes this force as centripetal force and it revolves in circular orbit around the nucleus. Very similar to our solar system. If you take our sun and earth, so there is a force between sun and earth, gravitation force. Even though there is a gravitation force, our earth cannot able to move towards the sun. Okay, or any planets in our solar system cannot able to move towards the sun. Why? Because there is a centripetal force which balances the gravitation force. Okay, so in our solar system, centripetal force is equal to gravitation force provided by the sun. So that's why we neither move towards the sun nor move away from the sun. So we are inside the solar family. Okay, so the earth made to rotate in a circular elliptical orbit. So here the same thing will happen. Even though these two are opposite charges attract each other, but the centripetal force resists the electron move towards the positive charge. So here centripetal force Fc balances the Coulomb force or electrostatic force. Okay, so here Fc is equal to Fe. That's why electron cannot able to move towards the positive charge, but it revolves around the nucleus. Next topic, very important, distance of closest approach, R naught. The minimum distance between the center of nucleus and alpha particle. So let's say this is our source, okay, bismuth source, which emits alpha particle. The minimum distance between center of nucleus, we take this is our nucleus. okay, in an atom. So the minimum distance this alpha particle made to pass towards the metal, okay, towards the gold foil which have this atom. So it goes up to certain limit. After that what will happen? Okay, when it goes straightly, so after that it will get reflected back, correct? So the minimum distance between the center of nucleus and the alpha particle, okay, this is initial position, we can say initial position, this is final position, just before it gets reflected through 180 degree. So this distance is known as R0. Why it is reflected? Because both are positive charge. Okay, why it reflected exactly 180 degree? Because it is moving exactly towards the center of positive charge, towards the center of nucleus. Okay, so if this alpha particle goes here, then it will get reflected at certain angle. So if it is goes here, then reflected at certain angle theta, but it exactly goes towards the center of nucleus, that's why it get reflected by 180 degree. So this is the one atom among the 10 lakhs atom which reflected exactly back at 180 degree. So when it comes close to the positive nucleus, that closest distance is known as closest approach. So it can approach how much closely to the nucleus. This distance known as R0, distance of closest approach. Okay, so here applying conservation of mechanical energy. So the initial position we take, the distance is infinity. Okay, here the distance is infinity. Here the distance is R0. So for applying conservation of mechanical energy, we know initial potential energy, initial kinetic energy will be equal to final potential energy plus final kinetic energy. So what is the formula for potential? Remember, potential due to point charge. We have k q by r, but we have two charge, that is charge of alpha particle, then charge of atom. Okay, alpha particle positive charge, then the atom nucleus we have positive charge. So we have two charge k q1 q2 divided by distance. What's the initial distance from here to there? Infinity. So distance is infinity, okay, plus kinetic energy. So initially alpha particle comes out from the bismuth, it have more kinetic energy, that's why it moved towards the positive charge. Okay, so initially it have kinetic energy. Then what is final potential energy? So when it reaches here, okay, positive field, positive charge, so it reaches here, it almost stop. So the final potential energy, here we get k q1 q2 divided by this R0, closest approach. Okay, that is the final potential energy. Plus, what is the kinetic energy? As I said already, so after reaching this point, it won't move further because here positive charge, positive, positive repel. So it won't move further. So at this point, alpha particle loses all its energy. Okay, it stops almost. So there is no kinetic energy for alpha particle at this point. Clear? So here 1 by infinity will be 0. This total value will be 0. Then we have Ke equal to, what is the value of K? K is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Then Q1, Q2. So what is Q1? Charge of alpha particle. Okay, charge of alpha particle, as I said, 2e. So 2 means atomic number, then e means charge of alpha particle. Then what is charge of nucleus? We don't know nucleus of which metal. Okay, so we can say Ze. Z is atomic number for alpha particle. Okay, for alpha particle Z is 2, so we can take 2e. For this metal we don't know what is the Z value, so we can simply take Ze. Here Z means atomic number. Okay, we don't know the metal, we don't know the atom, so we simply take it as Ze divided by R0. You see here the formula which we studied in first chapter, okay, comes until the 12th chapter. So except two chapters, that is optics, ray optics, wave optics, first chapter is very much essential, first chapter and second chapter, in order to understand all the remaining chapters. So from this we can take Ke equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught 2E Ze, we have 2Ze square divided by R naught. Take the value of R naught equal to 2Ze square divided by 4 pi epsilon naught kinetic energy. So this is the formula for distance of closest approach R naught. Okay, so when kinetic energy is maximum, which means this alpha particle have maximum kinetic energy, have maximum speed, then what will happen? It can able to move extremely very close to the positive charge, very close to the nucleus. Correct? So it can able to move towards the nucleus very close. So we can say when kinetic energy is maximum, okay, then R naught value will be minimum. Why? Initially this is R naught. When this alpha particle move extremely very speed, then it can able to move up to here. So now the R naught value will be minimum. Correct? So naturally maximum kinetic energy of alpha particle will be 7.7 mega electrovolt. Okay, so if we take gold atom, if we take this is gold atom, then atomic number of gold, Z for gold, is 79. So if I substitute all the value, so the kinetic energy is 7.7 mega electrovolt, kinetic energy is 7.7 mega electrovolt, then we know 1 by 4 pi epsilon K value 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, then Z value 79, Z value also we know. Then E charge of electron 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb. So if you substitute all the value, then we will get R naught for gold. Okay, if we have gold in here, R naught for gold will be 3 into 10 power minus 14 meter. Further we can write R naught is 30 into 10 power minus 15 meter. So this 10 power minus 15 meter also known as Fermi. So we can say 30 Fermi. 10 power 10 is angstrom, 10 power minus 15, 10 power minus 10 is angstrom, 10 power minus 15 is Fermi. So the closest approach will be 30 Fermi. Okay, so actual gold nucleus, actual size of gold nucleus will be R equal to 6 Fermi. Okay, so the total size of gold nucleus, total distance is 6 Fermi, but R naught will be 30 Fermi. Clear? So this is R naught value 30 Fermi, this size will be 6 Fermi. So this question will be your homework. Alpha particles of kinetic energy 5 mega electrovolt. So kinetic energy 5 mega electrovolt. So we have to convert it into volts. 5 mega will be 10 power 6. Then electrovolt. So multiple the value of electro, 10 power minus 19 coulomb volt. Okay, are projected towards uranium nucleus. So instead of gold nucleus, here we have uranium nucleus, which have atomic number of uranium 92. We have to find order of distance of closest approach. So simply substitute all the value. 2 into Z is 92, then E 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb divided by 4 pi epsilon naught. We can take 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught as 9 into 10 power minus 9 into 10 power 9. Okay, then kinetic energy given 5 into 10 power 6 into 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. If you substitute all the value, you will get answer in meter, but our options are in centimeter. So you have to convert meter into centimeter, then find the answer. Next important topic, impact parameter B. It is the perpendicular distance of initial velocity vector of a particle of alpha particle. Okay, this is alpha particle with center of nucleus. So let's take this is center of nucleus. Okay, so the perpendicular distance of initial velocity. So our alpha particle initially move with some velocity. This perpendicular distance taken as impact parameter. Okay, so when it move near the positive charge, okay, when it move near the positive charge, it get reflected. We should not take this distance. Okay, this is closest approach. Okay, this is closest approach. If you take the here, this is closest approach. But initial velocity, okay, perpendicular distance of initial velocity. So initially it starts to move from here, then this distance taken as b, the perpendicular distance. Okay, so we have a positive charge, nucleus. When object move towards the nucleus, it will start to get reflected. So from the center of nucleus, if we take the initial velocity, then this distance known as b, impact parameter. Clear? If our impact parameter is 0, which means impact parameter is 0, that is, instead of this much deflection, our alpha particle move here, okay, straightly towards the nucleus, center of nucleus. Then what will happen? It will again get reflected. Correct? So here what is the perpendicular distance? Perpendicular distance is 0. This is the perpendicular line. Alpha particle also move along the same line. So there is no perpendicular distance. There is no distance in y-axis. Correct? So the perpendicular distance is 0. Impact parameter is 0. If impact parameter is 0, then theta equal to pi, which means 180 degree. Exactly reflected back. If b value is very greater than r0, then theta equal to 0. Very important. So which means this is our positive charge. B value very greater than r0. Okay, let's take this is our r0 value. If atoms, alpha particle can able to come up to here, after that it cannot able to go. So this is minimum closest distance, closest approach. If b value is very greater than r0, let's draw a perpendicular line. B value very greater than r0, which means alpha particle move here. So there is no relation, there is no connection between this positive nucleus and the alpha particle. So it move undeviated. Correct? Now see, this is our this is our impact parameter. So if you see here, B is very greater than compared with R0. So this electric field cannot able to provide a force or cannot able to deflect this alpha particle moving somewhere. So no relation between this alpha particle, this positive charge and this positive nucleus. It moves in a straight line. For this condition, our B is very greater than R0. Correct? B is very greater than R0. So here the theta is 0, which means it moves in a straight line, which moves undeviated. Theta is 0. Clear? So if alpha particle also move here, here also theta is 0. Okay, but alpha particle move here, theta is not 0. Because of this positive charge, it gets reflected. Clear? So B is very greater than R0, then theta is 0. We have formula for impact parameter. B equal to kz e square divided by kinetic energy root of 1 plus cos theta divided by 1 minus cos theta. Here theta means scattering angle. So what are the drawbacks of Rutherford model? It cannot explain stability of atom. We studied in previous chapter, Maxwell, in chapter 8, electromagnetic waves. An accelerated charged particle produces EMW or produces electromagnetic radiation which have energy. Okay, so when electron rotate the positive charge, okay, it starts to rotate. So after each revolution, it loses its energy. Okay, according to Rutherford model, after each rotation, it loses its energy. So if electron loses its energy, then it will rotate, and again it will loses its energy, again it will loses its energy. So it cannot able to rotate more, then it will collide with positive charge. Okay, it will collide with positive charge. So while revolving around the nucleus, electron loses its energy and it's collide with positive charge, collide with nucleus. Okay, if this thing happen, then we cannot able to explain the stability of atom. So atom will not be in stable mode. So this is one drawback of Rutherford model. Then another drawback, he cannot explain discrete spectrum of atom. So spectrum means a kind of energy lines. When electron starts to move from s orbital to p orbital, or you studied spdf like that, okay, or klmn shell. So when electron starts to move from one shell to another shell, it will emit energy. With the help of energy, we can able to draw a continuous spectrum, a spectrum line. So what he said, electron revolve in any circular orbit, but actually electron can able to revolve only in a fixed orbit. Okay, so if we have more number of orbits, electron cannot able to revolve in all the orbits. Okay, we have more orbits. What he said, electron can revolve in any orbits, but actually electron can revolve in only fixed orbit, not all the orbits. So this is another drawback of Rutherford model. Clear? So when electron revolves in any orbits, then we will get continuous spectrum, but electrons cannot revolve in any orbit. So we have only discrete spectrum, and Rutherford did not explain about discrete spectrum. Clear? So this is all about today's class. Next class we will see the next topic. Thank you.